Today we're taking a look at the baddest motherfucker in the galaxy. This is Hot Toys 1/6 scale Mace Windu. Let's take a look. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Collector's Outpost. I am John. So today we're taking a look at the 20th anniversary Attack of the Clones Mace Windu. And it comes in this really cool kind of like vintage classic Kenner box style here. I absolutely love this. But let's take this out and check this figure out. Now, I don't really know how this opens. Undo that tape on top there. I have been waiting to get a Mace Windu figure in the collection for quite some time. And obviously it's a hot toy, so I ordered this sometime over a year ago when it was first announced. And it's really cool to have him in the collection now. I have a couple of Mace Windu lightsabers, and it is really awesome to finally have a Mace Windu figure in the collection. So there's just a lot of stuff here. We've got these arm gauntlets here. We have the little hologram system over here. We have two lightsabers over here because one has that USB connection to go into a little junction box in the back there. And over here in this section, these look like the clips to hold that little junction box thingy onto the back of the stand. Now here's what that little box looks like. We have the USB-C connection right here, which, by the way, Hot Toys does not give you a USB-C cable. You will have to provide your own, which I think is really stupid. I don't understand why they don't give you a USB-C cable. On the side there, we have the on and off switch, and right underneath we have a little section there where you can put this little clip to go on the back of the stand. Now, as far as the lightsaber blades, we do have the two standard blades. We have that swooshy type blade, and we have the single blade right there. Both with a very nice purple tone to it. Looking forward to seeing what that looks like with the LED. And here are the two lightsabers we have. This is the standard one without the cable, and you can plug your blade right into that. And of course, we have the one with the connection cable on it that will also accept the blades and light them up with the LED inside. Now, the LEDs that come with these they're a little bit better than what we're used to seeing with the batteries. And I think it's just because we've got power. You know, we have some more power going into there, so the LED in there is just a bit brighter. The wire is pretty soft and bendable, so if you want to put it through the outfit, you can probably run it up the sleeve and out the back. And the hologram we have is of Master Yoda. It's that translucent blue material that they use, and it has a bunch of those lines in it so that it does actually look like a hologram. And here we have the two gauntlets. I'm not sure I'm going to use these at all. We do have the Jedi logo right there on the side. They're both actually weathered up pretty nicely as well. And obviously, to go along with the armored gauntlets here, we do have an assortment of hands that will match that. We have two right hands, a kind of relaxed one here, and this more, I'm holding a lightsaber hand, both with the armor plates on it to go with the gauntlets, as well as two left hands. We have a force push hand here, and we have a lightsaber holding hand there. Now, again, it's really nice that I have these, but I don't think I'm going to be using the armor on the gauntlets or the hands. I think I want him straight out, just holding his lightsaber. And over here, we have two more pieces of material. Looks like a couple of bands for his arms. And then we have a bunch of hands without their armor. We have a force push hand here. Then we have a lightsaber holding hand here, which is kind of almost in a fist. And then we have a lightsaber kind of pointing hand. And then on him, we do have another set of relaxed hands. Then we have the base. The base is, you know, pretty standard. We have that flooring, like Death Star kind of flooring there. Then we have a print of what looks like the floor of the council room. And we do have a nice crotch grabber stand right there. These are actually my favorites. I don't like the ones that go around the hips. And right up front there, we have our chrome nameplate that says Star Wars Mace Windu. All right, now let's take a closer look at Mace Windu himself. There doesn't seem to be any wires. You can't pose it or anything. You might not be able to get it to sit right, although I think it does look pretty good. I do wish there were just some wires in there. So if you wanted to pose him with this, you can get a nice dynamic pose, but it just doesn't seem like that. However, underneath we have wires here. We have wires there. Another layer down, we have some more wires here as well. But there are absolutely no wires in his robe. Now let's take a look at this head sculpt because it's there and it's also kind of not there. And it's driving me a little crazy because I can't quite put my finger on what's not there about it, because it's actually pretty good. It represents Mace Windu pretty well. It's just missing a little something and I can't quite put my finger on it. Moving on down to the robes here. This is a super soft material. I really like this material. It really falls nicely. I do wish it just had some wires somewhere that you can shape this around a little bit. You know, it does just feel a little bit limiting. You would think there would be some wires maybe on this piece here, you know, in case you wanted to, let's say, pose them up like that and kind of have these kind of off in the wind there with this lightsaber, but no, they don't have any wires anywhere, and that's a little disappointing. But still, all in all, I do love the material. The material is absolutely fantastic. Now, wires would really have helped this situation here. You know, it's almost impossible to get these hoods to look correct or even halfway decent without any wires to shape around the face. What am I supposed to do with that? So I'm not 100% sure how to even get that to even remotely look okay. But just as a draping robe, this looks really, really beautiful. Again, I love the material. So as I was taking off his robe, I did notice there is one wire, and that wire is right around the shoulders there, but there are no other wires anywhere else but there. So it's kind of useless. All right, so here we are without the outer robe. And you know what? I really like this look. So I'm not gonna put the robe on here. Now on here, like I was saying, we do have some wires here, so you can kind of pinch those up a little bit, or you can even kind of weigh them down and pull them down a little bit at the edges here. Now, right under here, we do have Velcro pieces that hold this on, but you can kind of pull these down right around the belt area a little bit to make it look like they're a little bit heavy and they kind of just weigh down at the bottom. I find it to be a bit of a strange decision on Hot Toys' part to have put wires and everything on the inside that you can pose this up really well, but then the outer robe to not put anything in, that it just has to fall. So you can't put in any type of dynamic pose at all with the robe on. Now, there does not seem to be any wiring around the wrist areas of the material, so that just kind of poofs out a little bit. Now, let's get into the belt area. This is pleather, so, you know, I do worry about that over time. We have seen pleather fall apart over the years in the collecting world, and not even just the collecting world, the everyday world of just clothing. Now, the pouches here, those do seem to be sculpted in, and they're painted very similar color of the pleather. And on the other side here, let me see if I can lift his arm up a little bit more. You can see the CoverTech clip there for the lightsaber. And here's his lightsaber that you can see the CoverTech clip there. Now, you do have to be careful because these do come out. You do have a couple of replacement parts too, but they do come out. And we can pop that right into the CoverTech clip on the side of his belt there. Now, come on, honestly, that looks awesome. Now, do be careful because the CoverTech clip does come out. You do have a couple of replacement pieces, but just do be careful because they are really tiny. Now, let's move on down to the boots over here, because this is one of my most hated things about Hot Toys, are their inconsistencies in making boot designs. Once again, we've got these perishable pleather pieces of material where this would have been perfect for a sculpted boot bottom here, and then your halfway point over here, and then another piece of sculpt over here. This easily could have been a jointed boot piece. I don't know why they keep going back to this pleather design here. And look, it's all bunchy over here, right? You'd have to kind of straighten that out. It'd be so much easier if this was one piece and this was the other piece, like they've done many times before, instead of giving us these perishable pieces of pleather. Give us the simple two-cut boots like they have many times, sculpted piece on the top, sculpted piece at the bottom, and be done with it. Why do we have to keep going back to this? All right, so we're around back here. We can put in our little USB junction box over here. Now, again, they did not give us a USB-C cable, which drives me insane. I'll have to go dig one out of my closet somewhere just so I can show you how this looks. But I do really like this connection piece. I like the fact that you can just kind of clip it right on to the stand right there and then run your cable at the bottom, and you just got to figure out a way to run your lightsaber wire through the suit, or just behind it. Just depends on how you want to place this lightsaber. And this also comes with a little clip that you could put around the belt area if you want to put your little inverter box up here instead of around the stand. So the lucky thing is, because I review so many lightsabers, I have USB-C cables all over the place. Now, just for the purposes of the video, I'm going to use my USB battery bank over here. But when I put this on display, I'm going to have to figure out how to run this through the display case and up to the top where all my connectors are. Now, if you want, you can kind of undo all of this. I don't think I'm going to do that, but you could run the wire up the sleeve here and down the back But honestly, for me, that just feels like a whole lot of extra work that I just don't feel like doing. And we'll figure out how to hide it the best we can. I mean, it is a black cable, so in my display, it's not really going to be seen that much. So, I mean, even here, you're not seeing it all that much. You're just seeing the light reflect off of it. So when it's up here in the display, you're really not going to see this black wire anyway. All right, we got to plug our USB-C into the bottom there and run our wire connection into this box right here. All right, let's turn the saber on. Boom. Very underwhelming, I have to say. Oh, man. All right, so that is the lightsaber turned on in a reasonably dark room. I mean, it works. I mean, you can see it, but it's obviously very bright right here at the emitter and then pretty much dies down. And then the tip gets a little bit more lit up over there just because it's kind of hitting the back of the wall there. But, you know, it works. It does its job. I don't know if it's going to make everybody happy. I don't know if that's going to make me happy sitting in the display with all of these other CCFLs. Let me turn off this other light on the side. All right. And then I'll turn off this here. And that's about what you get. That's pretty much how I'm seeing it with the naked eye. So let me just turn on my room lights and you can see it pretty much disappears. That's a shame. I mean, it's usable. Some people might think it's absolutely fine for their collection. You know, maybe they only have 1 or 2 Hot Toys figures and they're more than fine with that. But yeah, I do think I'm going to have to order myself another Chris Custom Sabers just to make this dude really stand out on my display here with all the other guys that have their own CCFL lightsabers. So while I have all the lights on, let me show you what I have going over here. I've got the battery bank here hooked up to my own USB-C cable into the little junction inverter box thingy, whatever you want to call it. And then I have the black wire directly from the lightsaber. It's not tucked away or hidden anywhere. Kind of maybe attach that right around the belt here, so it's not just hanging. Actually, that might actually work just fine, just doing it like that. Just kind of tucking it right underneath this little box right there. Yeah, actually, I think that might work fine. So you can see it's reasonably hidden away around the back. You don't really see much of that wire at all right here. I'm going to wind up buying a black cable, a nice long black USB cable that's going to come out of the displays and up to my USB boxes up on top to run all the power for these guys. So I got them in a simple pose and you can see where I'm putting the wires and everything. They're not really hidden, they're just kind of wrapped around things and it seems to work out pretty well. Now the lightsaber in this particular light setting looks pretty decent as you can see, but it's definitely not what it could be. So I'm definitely going to have to order a CCFL lightsaber just so he doesn't get lost in the crowd with all the other figures I have with the CCFL lightsabers. So I have him in a little bit of a dynamic pose here, as if he's getting ready to swing his lightsaber, and having the wires in here really adds some of that dynamic so that you can really get a pose that looks like he's about to do something. Now, while we have this going, let's swap out the blade here for the more swooshy blade. All right, so now I've got the more swooshy blade on, which is actually quite a bit heavier. It's actually pulling his arm down a little bit. That is definitely not going to stay on there at all for too long. It's very, very flimsy in the joint there. So it's gonna, for me at least, it's gonna be a little bit limiting on the pose, but that's fine because I don't really use that blade anyway. This is actually a pretty cool pose, man. He's about to wail on that thing. And honestly, sometimes the simplest of poses are just the best. This is pretty much how I'm going to display him in the cases over here because, number one, very limited on room, and I'm really digging this. He looks like a pretty badass like this. All right, everybody, that is about it for this figure. This is the Mace Windu Hot Toys 1/6 scale figure that I picked up from SIDESHOW. I'll put a direct link down below. I don't know if they're still available at all, but I'll put a link down below either way for you. So drop down below. Let me know in the comments what you think of this Mace Windu figure. And while you're down there, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. For upcoming videos, I have tons of lightsabers and more Star Wars Hot Toys figures. And I think there's a Batman and stuff also come in, so that's going to be pretty cool to take a look at. Anyway, I will see you all on the next video. Be safe and kind out there in the world. See ya.